Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I am your host, Teri Wellbrock, and my heart is giving a big hug to my guest, who I'm so excited to have with me today and to learn from her. And today we have Christine Higgins, and she is energy healer, channeler, sacred space facilitator, which we're going to learn about, and founder of Embodied Energy Wellness. So welcome, Christine.
Hello, Teri. Thanks a mil for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Coming
I'm
to
so
us
excited.
from across the pond, as they say.
Yes, Ireland. I'm in South Dublin, Ireland. So the
Oh,
accent's probably giving it away.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I'm half Irish, half German. So it's like all my grandfather, like all the men on that side or both sides were German. And then all the women were Irish. So I have
Oh,
that.
that's the powerful feminine energy there now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So talk to us. One of the things when I was reading your intro and reading through all of the amazing work that you're doing, sacred space facilitator, what does that entail?
Okay, well, so it is, I'm a shamanic practitioner and a qualified one, and I create spaces in order for people to heal themselves. And that's the way I word it, because a lot of people will come to me and go, "Oh, heal me." And I'm going, "Oh, no, no, no. I don't heal you. I create the space for you to empower yourself to heal." So that is a sacred space facilitator. But we also, to make it sacred, is I use a lot of shamanic rituals, a lot of protection, a lot of grounding to hold the client in that space to make them feel that they are safe and being held.
Yes, well, I know as a survivor of horrific childhood trauma, that was when I first stepped onto my healing journey. That was so scary to
The
be with.
trust.
I tried so many different things, and there were certain modalities that I was utilizing where I didn't feel that safe
Yeah.
um, connection, I guess, or that space to
Yeah.
do that really hard work, because it is hard work.
It's very hard work, and you're being seen probably for the first time in your life. And that is so makes a client very vulnerable, And my passion is to make that client just really be able to be seen, to be held, and to feel safe, and for me and my work, it's not just a one-to-one client. I, as you probably know, is the Full Moon Healing Circle, which attracts 2,000 people on a beach in South Dublin as well. So that's a bit crazy.
Yeah, yeah. That was my next question, was to talk about the drumming circles, because I told you, living on Hilton Head Island, we used to have them here, and then the person that was facilitating it left. And I don't think anybody's picked it up that I've heard of in my world.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you were like, "Well, you'll come over," and I'm like, "Come on over."
Oh, I'm over on the next plane. I would love to like your listeners to hear the drum on live, but it's like the full moon it's a mix of drumming meditation, it's a mix of breath work, it's yoga flow flowing into it as well. We have a fire ceremony, and it's just a huge community that has grown over the last 4.5 years. I started it in August 2021, coming out of lockdown. I had trained as shamanic practitioner and a yoga instructor. And I remember I was teaching yoga on the beach, because I don't know whether the US were able to meet in outdoors during lockdowns, and we had to be
No.
2 meters. We had
Yes.
to be 2 meters apart. I had to be outside, and I had literally just started my yoga teaching journey. And I was like, well, how am I going to like start teaching yoga when I'm not allowed indoors and studios are closed and gyms, etc. So my local beach, I just was like, I'm just going to start teaching yoga on the beach, because like it's literally 5 minutes from my house. So on Killiney Beach, if anyone of your listeners ever comes over to Ireland and just to walk along Killiney Beach, it is a beach that is steeped in wisdom. It's very ancient, it's very sacred. There's sand underneath the stones. So it's not like what you're probably used to, where it's like white sandy beaches, the sun is splitting the stones. Or like it's more about, it's ancient and it's rugged and it's perfect, but it's imperfect kind of beach. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
It
it is
does make
fabulous.
sense. Yeah, I can envision it. I see it in my head. Yes.
Yeah, because we have the cliffs and then we have Dalkey Island and then we can see Bray. So it's a big, huge beach, but it's stony and it's rugged and it's not perfect, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that makes
I
any
love that.
sense. But yeah, so I started teaching yoga on the beach and people would come and this little community started growing. And I remember during Shavasana, one yoga class, I kind of looked over across the sand, the beach, and I envisioned a load of people in a column of white, all meditating. And I was very, very connected to the moon when I was younger. I had my dad had manic depression, schizophrenia, and he was quite abusive.
Oh,
So as a child, I was very intuitive and I was like always having burning candles, burning incense. I had tarot cards and I was really connected to my spirituality. But when my dad then started getting ill and the whole energy in the house changed and shifted into a very dark, heavy cloud, I stepped away from that spirituality. But during that time, I used to climb up onto my roof of my house. It was a bungalow, so we only had one floor. And I would sit and tell Grandmother Moon all my troubles, and I would cry, and I would let her just take all that off me, all that heaviness, and all that sorrow and loss. And I would do that as intuitively as a child. So when fast forward 30 years later, and maybe a little bit more, but I'm on the beach and I'm seeing this like clear vision of people gathering and meditating, and I was like, the grandmother moon has to do this because a lot of mental health issues were coming up after the lockdowns. A lot of communities were fragmented, people were disconnected from each other. So it was like, I need one beacon of light to bring the people to this place at a particular time every month. And sure, grandmother moon, she illuminates the sky in her full bloom every month. So yeah, what's the best light in the world is the moon. So that was the
yes.
full moon healing circle. And also we raise funds for Suicide or Survive. So my when I was like, it wasn't being a paid gig, it was actually raising funds for a mental health charity as well. So it was raising vibrations to the people that came and also raising money for people that needed help in the community.
Yes. Well, again, I tell you, my heart hugs yours. I have almost, gosh, I think last week was was the anniversary 2 years ago. My 26-year-old nephew took his life and died by suicide. And so thank you for, well, bringing awareness to it. And yes, doing
It's
that.
rampant, like it's an epidemic
Yeah.
across
Yeah.
the world, and it's something that nobody's talking about as much as it should be. I used to always think on, it's funny that I didn't, well, in our country during lockdowns, there was always this, how many people died of COVID every day? Can we not do suicides? For
Yeah.
us to actually see the magnitude of how many souls are suffering in this world right now, because
Right.
that would actually make people wake up and start looking and spreading the love and compassion to each other.
Yes. I know here they'll talk about a lot of veterans and,
Yes, that's a big
that,
one.
and every few minutes one dies by suicide. And but when you're like thinking of minutes, it just doesn't quite resonate as when you're like just seeing that huge number.
Yeah. And like
Yeah,
most of them might not be, like registered as a suicide. That's the other
true.
thing, you know what I mean? Because really, does any government of any country really want to show that their rules and their policies and everything is not actually fit for form for humans?
Yes, right. And no, it's heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking when you know someone who's struggling and hurting so much and there's nothing, well, no, like what you do, you can help them really pull themselves out of that darkness.
100%, because when we are suffering with our mental health, we disconnect from everything around us and we disconnect from ourselves. So the full moon healing circle, when you arrive on the beach, there's suddenly this community, and everyone's talking and everyone's rolling out the yoga mats, and they've known each other from the last couple of years being at the full moon. And I think there's a WhatsApp group going around. And then we also had two people getting meet at the full moon and got engaged.
Oh,
And yeah, it's like, oh my God, we have our first wedding. And then, like, women are coming up to me with newborn babies and saying, oh, like, on my baby, like, we called it Luna, you know what I mean, after the full moon healing circle. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, and I never in my mind thought that this thing would grow so big. But I also had struggles myself, though. Like, this didn't just come out of the blue and go, okay, I'm going to do this event and everything be fine. No, like on an individual level, like I had to break past the fear of public speaking, the fear of rejection of the community. Who is this girl rocking up to a beach every month and drumming and holding space for the woo woo, the witches, the fear of, so that was a fear of failure as well, and also the fear of success, which I think is a big one. So I had to break through a lot of fears. And to be honest, I would have probably started it way before August 2021, but it took me about 5 months to actually finally say, this isn't going away. There's a pull inside of me for do this. I can't dismiss it anymore. So one day I just said, okay, it's like a week before the full moon. I'm going to post it up on my Instagram. I put up the post on my Instagram, and I actually threw the phone away. And I was like, this is the first step of I actually can't undo this now.
right,
I was
right.
like, oh my God. Like I was freaking out. I was like, and like the rattle from within, like I was literally anxiety, like freaking out. But in my head, but in my heart, I was like, Christine, you're doing good here. You
Yeah.
have to do this. The people need this. And so came to August 2021. I think it was the 10th of August. And when I looked at my phone and saw the post, so many people started liking it and started sharing it, and I was like, "Oh, sugar, like this is going to happen.
Here we go.
Here we go." It's like, okay, strap in, let's go. The roller coaster is off. And so yeah, I didn't sleep for 3 or 4 days before the full moon. And I don't know whether that was just, I don't think that was the moon energy affecting me. I think it was just my anxiety and it was the
Yeah.
panic. So I rocked up to the beach and 100 people turned up. And I was like absolutely sweating. I was shaking. I don't practice meditation. It all's channeled. So I actually don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what's going to happen. But all I do is I trust. And I have a spiritual healing team, and I call them in, and they're the ones that just hold that space. So basically, I'm the conduit of the energy,
Yeah.
but like, don't ask me what happens or how it's going to happen. It's like, I just have to trust, and then it works. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's pure channeling. But I remember I had a bottle of water, and I picked, there was loads of people settling down on the yoga mats and they were all excited. And I picked up the bottle of water, and I'm not messing up, my hand was like that. You ever, it was, it was like
Oh,
that. And I was looking at my hand going, oh my God, I can't stop this. So I remember looking at two ladies across the way, and they were just kind of like, oh, is she okay? And, but I kind of stood away. I rooted my feet into the earth, and I said, okay, lads, I need your help. I call my spiritual team the lads. And I was like, I'm going to ask my personality to step aside, and I'm going to ask my soul to step forward. Let's do this. And I just turned around, and the people that were there just said, something came over you, and you were literally like the priestess. You were like, to do, you took over. And then I remember it finished, and I nearly collapsed. So I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, thank God that's over. And then one by one, everyone started coming up because we have a little party and we get into the sea, cleanse our soul. And they were like, when are you doing the next one? And I was like, oh no, I wasn't thinking of doing the next one. Like, this was enough.
this
And they're
was
like, no,
it.
no, no. Yeah. I was like, this is it. And they're like, no, 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 this has to happen again. So I was like, okay, okay, Grant, right. Yeah, next month. We'll be here next month. And the two ladies that were watching me at the start, they came over and they said, Christine, we didn't think you were going to get your shit together. It's sorry. Like, and they were like, we were really like, oh my God, she's not going to make it. Like, I was like, I know, I don't know what happened. So then that was the birth of the Full Moon Healing Circle, and 100 people turned into 200, 400, 500, and 2000. I brought in my friend Neil. He's Breathe with Neil. He does the breath work, and the two of us just work really well together. And because I needed someone else to hold the space, and I also needed masculine energy, but we're very the same. So yeah, it has gone from strength to strength. And yeah, it's just the people that come like it. And I remember every month the anxiety would build up again, and then I'd get through it. I think I'm only really comfortable now in the last year and a half
Yeah.
because I showed up every month fighting through all those fears.
Yes. And man, you just so resonated with my heart because I'm like some of the words you said about your personality stepping back and your soul stepping forward, that just hit me right in the heart because I'm getting ready to finishing up an online course on forgiveness, finishing up a book manuscript on forgiveness, and I'm launching a, a transformation guide business, like a coaching practice for forgiveness. And so
Mm.
I've just been dragging my feet and dragging my feet. I'm dragging my feet. I'm finishing it up, but it keeps showing up and keeps showing up.
Yeah.
And so just hearing you speak, like you've totally motivated me to just use that and say, okay,
Step.
ego, step back, fears, step aside, soul, step forward. That is just absolutely
100%.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like we stand in our own way so much. And I always have a picture of my guides just going, oh, come on, like shake her. Let's just get her going. You know what I mean? Or, there was one thing I'm in the middle of writing a book, and I was all full throttle of writing my book. And it wasn't the right time for me. And I knew it wasn't the right time for me, but I kept going ahead at it. And then I broke my hand and all over Christmas, and I was out of like I couldn't type for like 8 weeks, and I was sitting there going, "All right, guys, I listen. Okay, you didn't have to do something so drastic as break my hand, but like, okay, I'm listening. I'll surrender." So that's when they step in and they got really drastic. But
Yes.
yeah, I had
It's I'm sorry that you hurt yourself, but I've said to my angels, I call them angel whispers because I'll get my angel whispers, and I've learned to pay much closer attention. But every now and then I'll say, okay, I really need a neon sign. It sounds like you got your neon sign with, oh my
oh
gosh,
yeah.
broken hands, goodness sakes.
But you know what? Where there was a silver lining because it was 3 days before Christmas. And it's kind of like, I know your Thanksgiving is coming up, but I was able to sit and order my whole family around on Christmas Day, and I couldn't lift a finger. It was the best Christmas ever in my 45 years. So I'm just saying, I don't recommend it, but for any mothers out there, it wasn't a bad move.
Right. That's fun. What a way to look at the silver lining. Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah. So now the drumming part of it, I've heard
Mm.
before that it is incredibly healing, very cathartic. Do people like bring their own thing to just like whatever they want to like hit on? How does it work?
So I'm journeying. So called out the guided meditation, and I'm drumming at the same time.
Okay. Okay.
And it can go on for like 30 minutes. So the drum in shamanic tradition is like the horse. So it gallops you along on the journey. And as a shamanic practitioner, I'm weaving the people through the different worlds, and you can be in the lower world, the middle world, or the upper world. And I would whatever I'm being called or channeled to bring them, that's what happens, and they get what they need, and they may heal themselves in terms of finding their soul pieces during a journey. They could find their spirit guides or their spirit animals, or they get deep messages and guidance and lots of healing from those journeys as well. And it can be anything from 20 minutes to 40, 50 minutes is the longest I've drummed actually. But it's completely channeled. I don't know what's going to come out or what's happening.
Wow. And now do you have different drums that you utilize, or do you just like have one particular one that you use every time?
I have two. I've a buffalo skinned one that I use for the beach because of the temperature. The temperature affects. I have a fox drum as well. I'm right now. They're upstairs in my healing room, but I have a beautiful painted fox on one of them, and I can only use that indoors because it's a natural hide of a fox animal. So which died in natural causes, by the way. So it is very sensitive to temperature. So I can't bring it onto the beach. But when we
Gotcha.
do it indoors, what we started to do during the winter here in Ireland, because it's getting so cold for the beach, we brought the full moon healing circle indoors into a huge hall, but has like floor to ceiling windows. So we still get the moon, but
Yes.
we're nice and snug and warm. So it's like great. So that's when I bring the fox drum out, and that's much more powerful.
Awesome. That's just amazing. Well, shoot, something popped into my head and I was going to ask you and then it just flew out. So it'll come back if
It'll
it's
come
meant
back.
to. That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, well, again, I've just heard it's so like I told you, I had just done a sound bath with a gong and she had another instrument and I've lost the name of it, but it was almost like a tinkling. It sounded like kind of like rain. It was tinkly kind of sound. But I know sound. Oh, this now I remember what it was. So I've not heard anybody talk about like lower world, middle world, higher world. What is that, and does it tap into different?
Yeah,
Um,
so it's different intentions for the journey. So, um, for every healing, every guide channeled meditation, we have to set an intention. You know what I mean? And my intention is always like for the people that come to get their healing that they need and to feel safe. That's my intention for the whole group. And so the lower world would be where you meet your spirit guides, your spirit animals, if you need healing from Mother Earth. It's very like we first of all start in a safe place, so preferably outdoors, so in a forest or on a beach, and then we will go through a portal to go to the lower world, and that's when the magic happens. You know, they may see loved ones as well come in as well to give them that extra healing and to give them a guidance and any messages that come through. And it's a lot of shifts for a person to hear, and to be carried along in that journey. And then the middle world would be, I don't know whether you're familiar with soul loss. So I do a lot of one-to-one healings, both online and in person, and we go on journeys to the middle world to retrieve soul parts of ourselves that we've lost along our journey here on earth. So soul loss is a spiritual protection. Our soul has an amazing ability to protect ourselves when we're going through significant trauma or wounds. So, for example, yourself when you were a child, and then say someone else in their childhood, but also then it could be they got bullied in school, they could have witnessed something horrific and horrendous, went to the adult life, they could have a breakup that really affected them, it could be a loss of a loved one. Our soul will tear a piece off and leave in that time and location, not the emotion. Okay. And if you can imagine you're still walking on your timeline here on earth, and that soul piece is back here, and it could be a couple. You're here in the present moment going, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I feel like something is missing, or I'm not finding the joy in anything, or I'm severely traumatized, or I have panic attacks, or I'm getting triggered by something that is I shouldn't be, or you just have this deep feeling of loss. And that is because you think about your past, you could have a number of soul losses back in those time locations, just held energetically there. So, as a shamanic practitioner, we go back to retrieve those soul pieces, and it's called soul retrieval. And I use the drum. And once I know they're safe and they're feeling that they can trust me and hold space for them, we go back and we retrieve that soul piece in the middle world. And sometimes, maybe if, for instance, there is an abuser or involved, they may come into the journey, but I'm still holding that space. for my clients to finally have their peace and empower them to to free themselves from the holes that the abuser may have on them still energetically. And it
Wow.
is deep healing. It is
Yeah,
very,
one of
very deep.
it sounds incredibly powerful. One of the things that pops into my head is, so I've done so much incredible healing work, EMDR and somatic healing and breath work and mindfulness and meditation and all the yoga and all the things. And really, really, I don't have panic attacks anymore.
Good.
However, I found like the more healing I did, things would start to arise that like I used to love, 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 love the Pisces in me, walking along the beach.
Mm.
We live on beautiful Hilton Head Island. And um, but now as the more healing work I did over the past few years, the more scared I am to be out on the beach. And I feel very exposed, a fear of open spaces. I don't want to be out there. And so if somebody like came to you with something like that, is you could work remotely with them and be able to, like, would they have to be out on the beach when you're doing the work, or could you do the work?
It's on the journey. It's in their mind. So I notice with people meditating, and even people that never meditated in their lives, they're either a feeler, so they feel that they're in on a beach, or they feel they're in a room, or they feel an energy coming in, okay, or they're a hand on their shoulder. They're a seer, so their third eye is wide open and they can see, or they are both, which is about 2% of the world. There's only 2% people in the world that can do both. Okay. And like, even people new to meditation is like, oh, I'd never be able to get there. But actually, everybody has this magic in them that they can be the seer, they can be the feeler, they can feel the energy once they start on their journey of their spiritual path, and that's why I've designed the embodied energy method, which taps into the 5 steps to be able to get my client to a place where they are in touch with their emotions, they're in tune to their intuition, they're empowering themselves to step into their power, they are rooted and grounded in themselves, that the smallest things that would have triggered them and they would have reactive, they're coming from a place of responding rather than being reactive. And they are connected to their soul piece. And the 5 steps is earth energy, how we root into ourselves. The second one is our emotions. You're interested that you said you can't be around the sea and open spaces. So to me, that element is air and water. So water is emotions, air is clarity. So we would do a deep dive into those energies, those elements,
Ooh, I got
and see what
goosebumps when
comes
you
up.
said it. So
Oop, there you go. I'm on the path. And then we also have fire, which is like igniting our power within us. And that's why it's embodied wellness. So we have to empower ourselves to step onto our journey, and we have to empower ourselves to go to the gym. We have to empower ourselves to meditate. It's all a decision. And it's always about putting ourselves forward. And that is the fire energy. And then there is the heart, like air, and the heart holds so much within everyone. It's the cave of everything that is contained from our lives, past lives, and breathing is so important to release that pull. Like it's the first place when we're stressed or we're triggered. The neck tenses up, the jaw tightens, the chest just goes tight, and you're like that walking around. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
rigid, but it's the breath that releases, and that softness that comes in, and then you can feel it, you can heal your heart. And then we have our spirituality. So many people have stepped away from their spiritual side because religion across the world is completely taken over, but everyone's confused. There's nothing to do, spirituality has nothing to do with religion, but it has everything to do with you. And
yeah,
like, spirituality is in us all. It's how our ancestors lived. We were all coming together as a community around a fire, dancing, singing, releasing, and being together as a unit, you know. Um, we're not like that anymore. We've been conditioned by society to be disconnected from ourselves, using our phone to be disconnected, our work to be disconnected. It's built, this society is built to disconnect us from ourselves and to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up very, very Catholic. My dad was a Jesuit brother for 8 years in the seminary. And so I had this very theological upbringing. My mom wanted to be a nun, but they wouldn't let her in because she partied too hard.
Hey, I like your mom.
Yeah, they were like, no, you drink a little too much. So so I had this, yeah, I had this very Catholic upbringing. But then again, as I healed and progressed and learned, and I started to embrace, aspects of Buddhism and, and I studied more and I understood more. Like then my spirituality just blossomed because I was able to embrace, while my faith is still an important part of my life,
Oh yeah,
that's not it. It's my spirituality and my connection to God, source, higher power, whatever you want to
100%.
label it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I always say. It's whatever it is in your mind. I'm not here to, to say you should do this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
come from the spiritual side. I respect all religions, but I can see what they are. They're there to divide and conquer, and but that's not me to dismiss that belief either, but I am here to pick up the pieces, where they do lose faith, and they feel disconnected. Like religion doesn't help with that, and I find with religion that it makes like us think that the power is outside of us and it's
Yeah.
somebody that's, where actually spirituality is we remember that we are the power.
Yes. And it's so interesting because I've had some incredibly powerful meditations where I was taken to the smoky veil and given a glimpse of the light and some really, really amazing, beautiful gifts that I've been given along my journey. And I remember talking to my mom before she had passed, and she was still that, rosary praying, daily mass lady in her mid 80s. And she was talking about God and whatever it was. And I said, Mom, my God is a God of pure love. Like that, that's what God is. Like that's
100%
just
love.
love. And so all of these like rules of like you have to earn it and you have to
Yeah.
like
And
it's
sins.
love.
Like, and then hell, you know what I mean? It's no, you know what I mean? It's love and light. The
Love and light.
highest,
Yes.
love and light is the highest vibration of this planet. And that's what we should be aspiring, love and light within ourselves, because we're all
Yes.
connected. Like we come from a source of connection, and then
Yes.
we come down onto this earth plane and we are struggling with this disconnection. And then we pass over, we transform, as I call it, and then we're like back together again. And we're like, what was all that? I spent like 60, 70 years feeling so disconnected when actually, if I just stood in my spiritual journey, I'd understand that we're all connected.
Yeah. I one of the beautiful gifts, the messages I had gotten was at the Smoky Veil was, Teri, you are both of the earth and of the light. In your role, your mission, your goal, I can't remember the exact word, I journaled it somewhere, is to be a prism of that light while on earth.
100%. A
And
conduit.
yes. And so now I like that's what I constantly remind myself is that we are that light.
Yeah.
We are of the earth, and we just need to be, that prism of that light as it comes through us, and yeah,
Yes.
and then that light, we connect. Like I so feel soul connections, like I feel soul connection with you, and there's
Yeah,
just
me too.
as we meet with people who are in tune with that, like it's like that light just connects. Yeah,
Oh,
beautiful.
100%. But we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And a human experience is like mess and chaos and shadow work and trauma. And and then we get a glimmer of the love and light. And it's messy here on this planet. It's chaotic,
Yeah.
So but I love the human, everything is a human experience. So by looking at it from a place of gratitude and understanding of teachings and lessons that are coming into our lives, we keep our vibration raised, that we are staying in that love and light vibration, that frequency.
Yes. And that, oh, thank you for that reminder. I mean, that is such a beautiful way to exist because now that I've reached that place where I say, oh, this crappy thing has happened. And then
Yeah.
I can, while I'm irritated in the moment, I can step back and say, what lesson is there in this? Like,
Yeah.
okay, hold up a second. And then it just takes that, that
Edge off.
release. Yeah, yeah,
But like it's
exactly.
all about awareness, like, and also, to be in touch with your spiritual side is not about perfection. You know what I mean? It's like just accepting every part of you, and that is your light and your shadow. There's nobody perfect out there, and I don't think spirituality should be portrayed as we have to be perfect beings. And
Right.
we're humans. We mess up. I mess up. Do you know what I mean? But it's having that awareness and that place of it came from a loving heart. I forgive myself, I forgive the other person. Let's move on, and
Yeah.
that's what I think we're being called to do more of, is just to look at the imperfection of being human.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I just think like me wanting to do forgiveness work with, because
Yeah,
my forgiveness journey was such a huge, huge part of me moving along my journey. And I'll tell you real quick. So I think the most powerful moment of that. So I was involved in two bank robberies in my when I was 21 and 22. They were 3 months apart, same perpetrators. Um,
good.
the first one, a gun was held to my head, and my coworker was stabbed with a hunting knife. And then they got away, and I moved to our other office, our main office, and then they came back. But
God.
this time, the perpetrator who had held the gun to my head pulled the trigger and murdered my coworker. So they caught them that time, and there was a big murder trial. I had to testify, all the things. So, years later, 20, 30 years later,
Mm,
I'm still carrying that
yeah,
that darkness, that weight of that. And so I went on a forgiveness journey with that bank robber. And along the journey, and I wrote him letters, and then I burned the letters and sent the energy into the universe, and I kept writing and I kept writing. I never sent them to him. It was just
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
release.
Energetically, yeah.
Yeah. And so but one of the aha moments for me was I was in a meditation and writing letters, and I thought of him as we were both born these little creatures, these little babies, these little beings of light.
Yeah,
We were just both little innocent babies. And somewhere along his journey, he chose to go down this path of darkness. And in that moment, I was able to on a love him light to light,
yeah.
and forgive his ego for his violent choices and the impact that it had on me. And that was so liberating and freeing because I was able to see him as a light, as a
Yeah,
being of light, that made really, really, really bad ego choices as his human side. So, if that makes sense.
100%. And oh yeah, absolutely. And then you're energetically freeing yourself from his energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a very powerful thing. Like forgiveness is powerful. It's not forgetting, but it's freeing yourself from his energy. We do a lot of work around that as well in the shamanic healing space as well. Because a lot of people hold on to so much
Yeah.
and they just don't let go. And that's when they're blocking their own way, when they're not just ready to let go.
Right, right. Yeah, beautiful. Well, again, I just think it's amazing what you do to help guide people along that journey. I certainly want to give you an opportunity. I could sit here and talk to you for
I know.
another few hours. But is there anything that you wanted to, maybe final thoughts to share, or something you wanted to touch upon that we didn't have an opportunity to?
Just in terms of like, the call for so many people to heal. Like the world is chaotic out there. And, even though we're in Ireland and you're in the US, but like everyone, every country in this world is feeling it. And there is a call for everyone on an individual level to go on their healing journey, because on a collective level, this is what we're seeing: wars, control, damage, chaos. And our inner world, our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. So where are we feeling that chaos, that war within ourselves, that conflict, and that heaviness within ourselves and in our lives? And once we see that and we go, I have a responsibility to heal myself, and then it's like a flip. It heals the collective. So I know when people out there are despaired and they're like, I don't know what to do to get out of this and it's so heavy. Actually, if we all do our individual work on a collective level, we will raise the frequency of the planet, and then it'll go away.
Yes. Amen. And hallelujah. And I agree.
Yeah, big time.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So now how do people work with you? How do they connect and find you?
So my website is embodiedenergywellness.com, and I'm mainly on Instagram. Well, I'm not everywhere. Instagram is Embodied Energy Wellness. Facebook is Embodied Energy Wellness. I have a YouTube channel. Needs a bit more work, but bear with me. Embodiedenergywellness.com. On YouTube. Yeah, I'm basically everywhere. LinkedIn as well. And my name is Christine J. Higgins. So yeah, just Google. I do online appointments. I do in-person appointments. And I also do motivational speaking as well and international retreats. And what else? Events. So yeah, just
Oh
come
my
find me.
gosh. Awesome. Well, I tell you, I told you Ireland's number one on my bucket list. So when I'm
Yeah.
there, I'm going to do a drumming circle. Like I'm just so
Yes.
excited.
Yeah. And you'll have a bed in my house too.
Oh, yay. Awesome.
Oh, anytime. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's just been wonderful. Thank you again for joining me today and all of your beautiful work and shining that light into the universe.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. Remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag hope for healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's Teri, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.